Nope, sorry. Now you can start.
All units proceed to your post assignment.
George Trombley, Mark Van Dyke, Mark and George.
God, it is April 2019, and I'm coming to you from the land. George Trombley. An amazing show number 25. We've come a long way, Mark.
Haven't.
Oh man, I'm excited. Nice. Something happened to me at the skate park here that I've been going pretty big. I don't know when's the last time you fell down, but I hit really hard. My whole entire side body just slammed into the ground, but it felt good.
Boarding.
Yeah. Bought a new board, having a lot of fun, getting my my fitness. What have you been doing fitness wise? What have you been doing?
An energetic 3-year-old, so which was very nice. Haven't seen them in a long time, so it was nice to see them again. And I promised them and them up more often. So
you gotta keep
promise. Hopefully,
you gotta keep in contact with the grandparents.
It's my grandmother. I mean, she's 81, I think. It's very important.
Massachusetts for her 90th birthday.
Sounds nice. Yeah, you care.
My dad used to say, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
You can also not pick your colleagues, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, you picked
yet. We are promised to make at least 50 shows with each other.
Yep.
And, get to 100.
I think,
hopefully.
Look, me and you have been working very hard at.
Oh, man, and, talking about the show, well, I was researching some stuff here, and I found this one story a couple of episodes ago when you talked about the scorpions.
Oh, okay.
And I found a story about rabid bobcats that apparently attacking them and stuff. Yeah, it's happening in
all places. Who even knows that place exists?
Well, you cannot trust them with the internet, because if you don't have an account, no, apparently the golfer fought off the animal with.
Everyone gets so concerned that they're getting attacked by a dog, but a dog's not even 100-pound man. You just gotta think of. No, actually, I haven't. Go for the jugular, and they have.
It's cute.
There was this seconds after mocking gator warning.
Oh,
this in the water.
Jesus. Something's going. I think something is in the water. People are starting to do this article about a guy didn't let go anymore.
Venomous or something, right? He's a danger.
F to pay your respects.
F in the chat. Oh my God.
To the dying tigers. And every so often articles come in that talk about people who are smuggling these wild animals.
I don't
for
need
some
a boat,
people that's
but the
probably
minute I have
the
money,
case.
I'm gonna have a boat when I have money.
I cannot deny that the thought sometimes has crossed my mind over these last.
Could shoot yourself,
but actually doing it. Yeah, it's your nose. That might be a good reason to think. Well, of course.
Of course not. You love
it's all
Steven
jokes,
and
but
it's all jokes. It's all jokes until you get shot.
It's all
when you're
jokes.
Changing a diaper at Chuck E. Cheese.
So, but
I heard what you were saying, but man, everything kind of went to crap for a second. All
very scary stuff.
I think we're back. I think China is blocking the story here in the studio.
Who knows? We're not. Don't think we are connecting through.
Is it a problem that I'm using Huawei routers here? I don't know, man.
No. Well,
that's scary. I don't understand. I've never understood why China thinks they can control their population from having opinions and lives. And I think how great America is with all of our differences, and I don't see why China doesn't. They're so threatened by their populace. It's really sad.
But it's probably the same everywhere. The tactics are just different. We see it, for example, with online censorship. People being knocked off the popular platforms, which happens a lot. We also see it in the media, which is in especially U.S. media right now about the Trump stuff, and it's very propagandized, as we have researched before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Western media as a whole seems to be
biased.
terribly propagandized and biased and everything. So it's very worrisome, and that we cannot deny that a certain amount of behavioral manipulation is being exercised on all of us. And of course,
I turned off your camera, by the way.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get
I
better.
thought you were gone on me for a
No,
second.
I'm trying to get better bandwidth, and someone said you're better without the camera, and I agreed, so I just took it off. If that's cool with you.
Okay, doesn't matter. I'm not that handsome today anyway.
You are very handsome. You are the most handsome guy that I've ever seen from the Netherlands.
Well, yeah, I'm also the only one you've ever seen from the Netherlands, but I'll take the compliment anyway.
Don't
Thanks.
let your facts.
It is just
ruin
a
my narrative.
worrisome situation where this global net is being cast out over all of us, and I think it's nowhere near as scary as it is in China right now with the facial recognition system, and the social credit score, which is even more scary. But do you think we're getting there?
I think I don't think it can happen in America. I think we've got too much. We got too many guns to start with. There's no way
that's a good point.
We've got guns protecting us from that sort of divide. Now, can it get worse? Absolutely. I think we will let it get worse in the name of security. And I think that's where it's been going for a long time.
It's kind of either privacy or security, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at the airports. How much worse are airports, because after 9/11, a lot of our security was eroded after 9/11. So
I remember the first time I entered, and the only time I entered the United States was in 2006, and it was shocking to me to see these Americans, they're not too tall, so for me they were relatively small guys with these big machine guns at the airport, and I was like, wow, that's just like stuff I never even imagined. It's really scary, but yeah. They are there for our safety.
Yep. Well, that's definitely scary. Well, how about we move over to more positive news? Actually, you know what? It might be scary. I don't know. This next news might be scary more than positive. I hadn't thought about it. Let me just read it to you, and let me see what you're. Wow, my whole thing is stuck here. I was going to try to read you this headline. Scientists create artificial material capable of metabolism, self-assembly, movement, and organization, which are the key traits of life. This is from ZME Science. Did you hear about this?
This is scaring me out already.
Yeah, and it makes you think, like, what makes something alive? What, the fact that, and from the article it says, is it the fact that it has metabolism, that it can organize itself into a coherent structure? If that's all it takes, then researchers might have just created artificial life.
Yeah, that's more like a virus.
Oh, I knew.
Is a virus life? People are doubting this because the viruses are replicating. They are basically just chunks of DNA, scattered DNA. But are they life? Well, they don't possess all of the traits of life. And having a metabolism is something that a virus does not have. Self-replication is something that a virus does have. The other two are so metabolism. The ability to reproduce. There are two more. I'm
That's
not sure what the
I
other
hadn't
two
thought about
properties of life are.
Why wouldn't a virus be life? Think about it. It makes sense, actually.
Because the virus doesn't have a metabolism.
Oh, they don't have a metabolism.
And and it doesn't have the same kind of it doesn't reproduce with a mate. And as I say. It doesn't have the divine sparkling.
Divine. Sorry, you cut off there for me. Divine what?
Spark. It's
divine spark.
It's one of those words. It's a Blavatsky term. Madame Blavatsky basically coined the phrase "divine spark" to mean that, that property that makes life differ from other things.
Do you think,
to
Mark,
summarize it?
Like, do you think that as AI progresses and we start getting kind of a self-aware artificial intelligence, do you think that? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, do you think that is that going to be life?
I think that that's an interesting question. I think that the technology and biology will merge. That's what I think. It will go both ways. I'm not sure if technology without biology will ever be able to be alive. And I'm sure that biology will be manipulated by technology because we're already doing that. We are already able to make blind people see again. We are able to augment people's brains with, electronics, and of course the artificial limbs. So it's already happening, and it's
Well, have you
just a
seen
matter
what they've
of,
been doing at Boston Dynamics with the dog robot and the robot that you could push over and they could actually recover?
Yeah,
you know?
man, those things are creepy.
Yeah, and I just saw a story too that they're going to be releasing a commercial version of that little dog that you can purchase I guess it's coming out this year. I don't know where the
Oh, geez, no.
let's see, it's called
Please no.
It's called the Spot Mini Robot. It's going to come out in 2019.
What's going to happen? I will see people walk through my street walking their mechanical dog.
Yeah, they just announced
This is from a science fiction novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? But here you have this news report you're talking about is mentioning metabolism.
Well, yeah, I think,
self-assembly.
well, what happens when you
that
kind
kind
of
of stuff.
combine all of this together? We've got scientists creating things that pretty much look alive, and then you've got the other side. You've got robots coming into form, and then we've got artificial intelligence. It's all going to eventually come together, and I'm finally going to get my sex robot.
And you don't have to feed her.
Well, yeah,
And she will able to repair her own broken parts.
Oh,
Do your groceries.
I told my wife about my sex robot plan, by the way, that I would like my sex robot. Like I would buy one when it can clean itself and hide itself in the closet for my wife. And she had this idea. I want to tell you my wife's sex robot idea. She says you would sit on the toilet and you would have a virtual, like a projection of of a woman, but then from the toilet you would have a device come out and manipulate you while you're watching the virtual robot, and you'd get all the sensory. You get the sensory with the robot, basically masturbating you. This is my wife's idea, by the way. I'm just pointing this out. But then you'd have the visual, like, have you seen Hatsune Miku, which is the Japanese virtual singer that actually does concerts on stage through projectors? Have you seen this? So to be like that.
I've seen.
Be like that.
I've seen Prince.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
artist formerly named as Prince as a hologram or stuff like that. Michael Jackson. They also want to do that, but he's become a controversial topic. But but that already exists. I think that the true combination of technology and biology is what's gonna happen one way or another, because never forget about the arms race. There will always be an arms race going on, and that basically means that one military wants to develop things at a quicker rate than their rivals, on different parts of the earth. And one of the things that I would build if I were like a military organization is a super soldier, something that I can remote control, that does not have empathy and stuff like that is super strong, and that's able to kill whatever. And then you can say, well, what about the morals? But what if we sent those things out to kill ISIS, for example?
Well, I'm reading a book now from Yuval Noah Harari, I guess is his name, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. And he dives really heavy into this topic of, if we had robots with AI, it would be not a problem because of the AI. It would be a problem because the robots would take the orders from the humans and actually do it. They wouldn't have any problems. He talked about ethnic cleansing or anything like that. They would actually carry out, without any morals, they would carry out what their bad human actors, their bad human bosses told them to do. Yeah, I think we're definitely heading down. We're getting into the area where the world could really either become an amazing place where robots assist us, or an amazing place where robots just put the people in power. We're getting ready to be, the whole book talks about where
that would be the people doing that. That would be the robots doing that.
Right.
I think if an AI develops totally autonomously, it won't care about us at all. It might, some people say it will see us as a threat. Who says that they will even think like us? And I doubt it, to be honest, because there's a million paths that we can, you can go when you're No, so
Yeah, I agree.
we won't even be able to relate to what's going on inside of that code, and it will figure out its own goals. It might say, and that's the most interesting thing. What if the AI gets so smart that it understands that there's no point in life and it shuts itself off?
Kills
again?
itself.
Yeah.
That would be funny. Well, I just hope that, with all of the, we've got China, you've got America, you've got Russia, you've got the European Union. You hope the right side, the side that is going to think clearly is going to be in charge of this AI expansion.
Come again? Sorry?
No, I would hope that the right side, you don't want a bad actor to be in charge of,
No.
the pending doom of the planet, Hopefully America, hopefully the side that we're on is, I don't even know if America's good or bad, but hopefully the right side is our side.
What if the right side is an enemy of either your country or mine?
Yeah. Yeah, what do you do
Would
about
you
that?
how would you find out?
Wouldn't even know, would we? What?
No, I don't think so. So I found an interesting story that might kind of see itself at least not as the world's enemy. This is about Russia. Apparently Russia's ready to take on a global internet shutdown. In the case that happens, Russia will be able to sustain its own internet, its own web. So Russian users would survive a global internet shutdown as the lower house of parliament in Russia passed a bill to guarantee the sustainable operation of the RUNet, the Russian segment of the internet. So I should say
RUNet? Oh,
probably.
RUNet.
RUNet, yeah.
Okay.
RUNet, comrade. The new legislation, which could cost up to US dollars, $466 million, envisions a full range of measures to ensure the operation of the Russian internet and to counter cyber threats.
Wow.
They include the creation of national DNS system that stores all DNS names and corresponding IP addresses, and it would provide cryptographic data protection. And it also restricts the transfer of data shared between Russian internet users to servers outside of the country. So, just in case, and I don't really understand where this is coming from, but they have been working on this for a long time, that in case there is a global internet shutdown, Russia will survive it. And here's a clip to demonstrate.
Has passed a
Yeah. Oh, of course. This is, of course, my brilliant internet connection. Yes.
Wow. It's excellent.
Nice clip, right? Yeah.
They
well,
probably already
beautiful
shut
girl,
down
but,
the internet, Mark.
On their side, yeah.
isolation law. Lawmakers claim it will help ensure Russia's security online, although critics claim it's an attempt at censorship. For more on this, let's discuss it with our correspondent, Maria.
Yeah, well, let's not, because this takes too long and the clip won't properly load. But yeah, there's the fear of censorship. But they responded to that by arguing that this is to ensure the internet's operation, not to build a sovereign internet like in China. And I think that if you would be a system where you do want to build a sovereign internet like in China, you would admit it. You wouldn't lie about it.
You think that they're not just saying the exact opposite, that they're trying to make sure the internet stays open? Well, really what they mean is they want control over the internet? Because right now the control lies with America, basically. And they're trying to isolate themselves from our control.
I'm not sure how much of the internet is in control anywhere. The United States has right now DNS control, but that can be easily subverted to countries outside of the internet. And there have been voices in legislative offices, like in the EU and in NATO and whatever, to spread it out over multiple countries. But also, if, for example, the U.S. internet shuts down, we will still have internet here. So I'm also not really sure what Russia means with we can survive an internet shutdown, other than the whole DNS issue.
Yeah.
And maybe some kind of hosting, abroad hosting or something. But
I think it's funny that the internet itself was designed specifically for communication after a nuclear war starts. That's what the whole packet sending and having data routed through different areas and all ending up in this, recompiling that data together. It's all because of nuclear war. And now Russia feels that maybe they could be cut off somehow from this internet, and they're feeling threatened.
Yeah, in case it happens. And if I were Russia, I would probably make the same plans, because the United States has them surrounded, everywhere. All of the countries have the missile systems and whatever. So Russia's not one of the popular countries. So they were preparing for this. I don't think it's all that weird. And
it makes sense.
Yeah,
if you want to protect yourself, I'm almost certain America has similar plans. Maybe they just don't talk about it.
Yeah, it would be interesting though if the internet shuts off in America, how much of the services would be impacted here?
I wonder.
Oh man, I really wish this clip would play, but it's not loading. I'm giving it up. Stupid internet. I'll next time I'll send you a tape and you can record I'll record my voice, and then I'll leave spaces for you to talk, and you can fill them in, and then we can
you should
let
mail
people
me
subscribe to the Mark and George tape service.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing.
We send out tapes,
but they're gonna be on metal hydride tapes. They're gonna be very high quality tapes, actual metal case tapes.
Oh,
yeah, very nice
tapes, man. I think it's a superior technology.
I actually love.
Why did we have to get rid of that?
I loved tapes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I was really into tapes.
Reel to reel was one of my favorite things.
Did you listen to any more of that reel to reel that you had of yourself when you were younger? Did you find anything interesting?
Yes, I found one interesting thing.
Do we have like a little Mark?
I think I'm 15 years old.
Right.
I'm singing along with my favorite band.
Oh no!
I cannot reach two of the notes.
We got.
So I curse into the mic, and I stop it in a total, moment of anger, and I stop the whole thing, and then it takes over. The pre-recorded stuff on there.
Wait, you rage quit the recording?
Fuck this shit! Click. Yeah. So apparently I've always been like this.
I don't know what you're talking about, Show 24. What was the name of the band that you were singing?
Oh, that's a good question.
Was it a American band or a English?
I think it's English.
So you were singing in English?
It wasn't Dutch. Yes.
Dude, you gotta play
But when I listened back to it, I don't understand what made me so annoyed, because it wasn't that bad, honestly.
It's because you couldn't do it. Like it's not what you expected, and it didn't go the way you wanted.
Yeah. I'm listening to it.
I'm not. Oh, you're listening to it right now?
No. I'm listening. I was listening to it, and I thought, oh, that poor kid. I was sympathizing with myself. Sweet, huh?
Sir Bemrose says he really wants to hear you singing. I don't know.
Not a chance, buddy. At least not that 16-year-old guy that I recorded.
Oh, man.
But who knows?
It's so cringy. I even watched stuff.
Record an album.
I watched stuff just from 17 years ago. I just put up a show on Japanese from Zero. It's because when I do the Mark and George show, it's hard for me to create new content. So I put up something I'm calling Throwback Tuesdays, and it's from 2004. It's called Emotional Theater, and it's very cringy. So I can't imagine how bad you are at 16, because I was bad at 30 something.
Oh man, I was such an emo back then.
Were you dressed in black and had black lipstick?
Yeah.
Really?
No, not the lipstick part, but I was dressed in black.
Were you all?
I was kind of I was a goth before it was cool.
Really?
I was one of those kids. Yeah. Wow. But then as soon as it became mainstream, I cut it out. I cut my hair, cut it out all the way. It sucked. It was nice to be one of the few. I don't know.
You were the original
some kids
hipster,
choose that
original hipster goth in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I was.
I want to see a picture of this. Do you have a picture from that time?
I think they were all burned. No, I don't think so.
I think you all burned him. How about that?
Yeah. Either that or
The amount that,
I've hidden them
the amount of
far
trouble
away.
that people go through to try to be unique. I mean, when you're growing up, it's all about like, what can I do to be special?
No, for me, it wasn't really that. It was more like, it's part of choosing your identity, which is a real thing, especially with teenagers. And I was like, what do I find the most appealing thing? And I thought, well, I'm always in fights with my family. I don't want to have a lot of friends, so I would like to keep people at a distance. I think something like that was, at least a part of the decision to do this. But the main reason was there were some beautiful girls also in the same
on the goth side
attire
there,
and stuff like that.
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
yes.
Yeah, my daughter was.
I was
goth for a
into
while.
that stuff. Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
she was
yeah,
really cute
yeah.
when she was wearing the goth stuff. Oh my god, I feel like Trump right now. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. This is like, you know what? This is unacceptable.
Well, I'm not going to perv on your daughter, but yeah, the goth
Why not?
thing certainly
Why
had
not?
a certain appeal.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
twice her age, and you're her dad, so two great reasons to.
Yeah, and I'm an American. I got guns. Got guns here. It's
You can
funny.
shoot me.
You being goth leads totally perfect into the next story that I wanted to talk about, and we
It
have
does?
talked. It does. It's almost like we planned it, although we didn't, which is kind of weird. Dude, that bell is way long. Whatever that sound was.
It was. Yeah, I was actually counting down the seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, fade that one out. No, when you're a teenager, you definitely end. I feel like a lot of people. This is a thing we've been talking about, but they do things to stand out. For example, we've talked about this, and that certainly to mean no disrespect to anyone that really is struggling with their gender identity, or actually, feels like they're generally a woman or a man born in the wrong body.
Those people aren't even listening. Maybe they are.
Well, you know what? I have a broader audience, and I would hate someone to hear me be against that. I'm very pro understanding of that, for example. But I do feel that there are people that are fake. I do feel that there are people that are just trying to be special. That's not what
Just like those fake goths from my youth.
Well, yeah, like there's this one guy I know named Mark who was goth because the girls were cute. That kind of a thing. Anyway,
You might have me there.
this article is kind of interesting. We talk about how we're really pushing this kind of an agenda in America to make it equal and to really bring. You talked about the sex education in California, how they're really pushing this, and I'm shocked and upset by this, that they're pushing such a heavy LGBT agenda. But there's a swing back coming, and this article from Pluralist says fed up high schoolers demand transgender students stay out of the girls' restroom. So I do think stories like this, where you show people not fighting back, but just letting, the pendulum swing so far one direction that it's bound to hit back. And I think that's what's starting to happen now. And there was actually a walkout at this school in Iowa. Let me go ahead and read from the article here. The walkout started after a student claimed her privacy was violated by a fellow student who identifies as a girl using the female restroom. According to NBC6, I guess is the name of the outlet here. It's a local news article. The walkout began at 10:30 a.m. with students separating into two groups. One group of about 20 students, just 20, chanted for privacy in the restrooms and against transgender students being allowed to use the girls' restroom. Another group of about 40 students streamed out in opposition to the first, chanting in favor of the transgender students' right to use the restroom of their choice. But I think the part was, here's the part.
Make four toilets. Problem solved.
Here's what someone says. Alina Owens says she alleged that the male wasn't even truly attempting to be transgender, and I think this is the big problem, right? We feel very uncomfortable
Perverts.
with a male
Perverts.
who's not doing anything to be transgender going into the female restrooms. I think this leads to a solution, is that if you're going to claim that you're transgender and you want the benefits of the transgender rulings, you need to do something to be transgender. You can't just
Like
say I'm
China,
transgender.
Japan.
Well, I feel like that might be a little bit too much. Whereas, if you recall,
Why?
for those of you that don't know, Japan's Supreme Court said that if you're going to change the gender on in your birth certificate, you have to remove your organs, your sex anatomy.
Your genital. You have to change your You have to have a sex change operation.
I think that I don't remember if it was remove the internals, or it might actually have been remove the I don't know. That makes sense to me.
The tubes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Doesn't it make sense to you?
It does. Go all the way, and then we will accommodate you. But if you want us to accommodate you, well, you can just, change your gender on a whim.
I was gonna. Oh my God, jinx! Literally, as you were saying it, change your gender on a whim was the thing. Did you ever feel like a girl, Mark?
No, I have never felt like a girl. But it reminded me of this one time at Carnival, which is a dress up party in Holland, where it was in the 8th grade, and I was feeling like a tough guy. I felt like one of the cool dudes, one of the oldest at school. So I was like, okay, let's fun things up a little bit here. So I decided that day to go to school dressed as a girl and just make fun of everything. And one of the first things the teacher told me was, hey, Mark, if you really feel like this, it's okay to talk, And I hated him for that because it was the most non-serious thing. I've always been a clown, I've always made comedy like this. It was just making fun. I didn't think it through to that degree. And people thought I was
cute,
crazy or anything. And
had you considered that maybe the teacher liked you and he was hoping maybe you'd open up to him about this and he could join you in your foray?
Well,
into being a
given
girl?
the rest of my history with that particular man, I seriously doubt it, to be honest, because we were not on friendly terms, which means he was not on friendly terms with me. Which means this guy picked fights with me in the class, verbal fights. He accused me of stuff I didn't do, all that kind of stuff, just to single me out. And the reason was he had, in the beginning of that class, the beginning of that school year, he got into a fight with my mother.
Aha, he has an agenda against you.
Yeah, he had a personal vendetta against me.
He knew what he was
And
doing.
boy,
He knew what he was doing when he said that to you.
Yeah, I think so
He was
too.
pulling your
And
chain.
I was just as naive back then as I am now, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. I wasn't suspicious to the well, maybe I'm a little bit more suspicious now, but oftentimes I'm still not suspicious when people neg me. I'm still
I get tricked into it too.
Yeah.
Speaking of dressing up as a girl, I remember one Halloween I dressed up as a girl and I really enjoyed it. I gotta say I enjoyed it. And I don't know how to feel about it now, but I remember wearing stockings was awesome. Have you worn stockings?
The only thing I really enjoyed was wearing a skirt because, it was free down there.
It was free.
Oh, yes.
It's not.
Yes.
Why do women get to wear the freeing? They have nothing down there. We need to wear a skirt.
We do.
We need to be Scottish.
I relate. I was about to say the same thing. I understand the Scots here.
Can we meet up
It
in
is
Scotland
so
and just start
nice.
wearing skirts? Is that a common? I
Well,
want to
you
wear. Is that? That's
you
not
don't
like some sort of
need me for
urban myth,
that.
right? They actually wear skirts, right?
Yeah, with nothing underneath.
Nice, dude. See, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
There's
just let it
another
all,
time. I'm really kind of just thinking my transgender history here. There was another time. There was a band that I brought from Japan, and they were a band that wore makeup, heavy makeup. And I remember I was
one of those.
I was in the room. We were all in the room there, and the lead singer, he was ready for the show, and he's like, "Hey, you want me to do makeup on you?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm good." But I really kind of regret it. Like, I really wish I would have had that experience putting the makeup on with him.
Yeah, my mother did that to me once when I was young. just to play. I was interested too in it. So I was like, hey, can you do that to me? And she was like, sure, let's try it out. And then
Did you?
Looked into the mirror. I hated it.
Oh man,
I absolutely hated it. It was fun to spend this kind of quality time with my mother because we didn't have a lot of that. So that was really nice. But no, the makeup thing, I looked into the mirror. I was horrified by what I saw. And I could not understand for the life of me why women would do this. And that was my first and only time. Until I was a goth and my then girlfriend wanted to put the eyeliner under my eye and stuff like that.
Oh, you did the eyeliner
God.
when you were a goth. Nice.
And I'm not ashamed of it because I was 16. Damn it.
Darren says,
Gotta have some
I'm looking
liberty
at
here.
the No Agenda Stream chat room. He says, you're pretty without makeup. Darren thinks you're pretty.
I'll put your money where your mouth is, boy. Donations welcome. Voidzero.net/PayPal.
So we can buy makeup. We need a makeup fund.
And we can finally put some makeup onto your pretty face, George.
I'm fresh out of concealer.
Yeah, well, but you've got a wife who probably wears makeup, or does she not?
She wears a lot of makeup now that she's 8 years older than me, so she's 50.
38?
54 coming up. Is that crazy?
Well, I'm this Thursday I'm turning 35, and I don't know anymore.
So young. It's crazy.
Yeah, people say that.
Although
that
the gray in your beard doesn't help you though, honestly.
And in my hair, man, it's getting gray everywhere.
I'm growing
It's
mine
scary.
out. I'm growing mine out.
Hey, my eyes are distracted here.
Yeah, sure.
On this, I was just reading that article that you mentioned about transgender students have to stay out of the girls' restroom.
Yeah.
And there is a trending article here about Kim Fox, the prosecutor of what's his name, Jussie Smollett.
Right.
And she is posing for a selfie with a man that she's supposed to be prosecuting for assaulting police.
What?
It's crazy shit. Yeah.
People have no shame. They have no shame.
This is just weird stuff, man. That Jussie Smollett case went weird, but now she's taking a selfie with someone who assaulted police. Yeah, no, I mean, this world, man.
Is he?
We are living in clown world. That's what it is. We live in clown world. Come again?
No. I'm wondering, is the guy famous or something? Why would she want to take a selfie? Is he handsome or something?
Yeah, he's handsome.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And let's be honest, Kim Fox, she has a face for radio. So
I haven't seen her face. Her name is nice though. I like the name Kim Fox.
With the double X, Fox.
Too bad she's not a fox. But I'll be here all week.
Absolutely. Hey, George.
Yes, sir.
I'm dying to ask you this.
Ask me. Go ahead.
Did you finally watch that Magnitsky Act documentary?
Oh, man. I did, actually.
Oh, you did?
I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. And all
right. Well, let me strap into my seat here. Hold on.
Let's talk about this.
Yes.
I had to because I got 10 karma
Give us a summary.
I got 10 karma upvotes in the No Agenda stream on show 24, I think. And not that we could talk about that.
Make it 11.
Yeah. No, I'm up to 14 now, actually, I think. I'm doing really well. Doing really well karma-wise.
Nice.
Yeah, I did watch it. I did watch it.
Okay.
And, well, first
Give
of all.
us a summary first.
Yeah. Good point. Let's talk about what the Magnitsky Act is. So, oh my God. I don't even know what governments passed this act. Was it just America? I don't know. America passed an act punishing some key figures in Russia that were claimed to have been part of the murdering of what's his full name?
Sergei Magnitsky.
No. The Browder guy. What's his first name? I forgot.
Bill
Browder. Bill Browder. His lawyer was apparently killed in a cover-up of the theft of $240 million tax refund from his company. Yeah, they called him a lawyer. But when you watch the very, very well made movie, by the way, I'm really curious as to why you can't get this on all the major platforms. Why couldn't I buy this on Amazon?
Bill had it banned.
Is
sued
that what he
them,
did? That is
had it banned from
This guy-
all other websites.
This guy, Bill Browder, is so shady. It's obvious he's pulling off some sort of, I don't know what he's hiding. I think he stole the $240 million. It looks like that. It looks like the company, all of the evidence from this behind the scenes movie, which organically became a behind the scenes. I don't think that was the original intent, right? He was trying to make a documentary, and as he was making the documentary, a lot of what Bill Browder said didn't line up, and he started doing what he didn't want to do, but he started doing some research, and it turns out that Bill Browder seems to be that his company wasn't stolen in Russia. It seems like he had to have been involved in the transferring of the company, and then he somehow he's involved in this.
Framed the Russians.
He framed the Russians. And his quote unquote lawyer, which his family says wasn't a lawyer, was an accountant, did get murdered.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what shocked me about the Magnitsky Act, this movie, and it really points to nobody knows what the fuck they're doing in this planet, because you think you could trust people running the government. You would think that these people are above, us average everyday people, but even they got tricked by Bill Browder's
Many people
story.
did get tricked, yes.
Yeah,
by
and
his story, by
literally
his book.
They took his word. Even the investigators that were working for the government only used one source, and it was the source from Bill Browder's website.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And when you actually translate the Russian documents instead of just reading the headers, I mean, basically they made this law by reading headlines. Headlines and not reading the actual article. It's ridiculous.
Right, yeah. There you go.
It's ridiculous. So this and every time I see this Bill Browder, by the way, very punchable face. Very punchable face. This guy needs to be punched.
True.
And
well, you need to see, people need to see the documentary to look for themselves.
Highly
like you said, a
recommended.
well-researched documentary. It's over at MagnitskyAct.com. We will talk about this more in the future because this is a story that's ongoing. But
his
depositions are.
It opens up my eyes to show what you can do. It really opens up my eyes. Like if this is out in the open like this, and it's still very covered up, even though it is obviously bullshit, right? The whole Magnitsky Act is obviously bullshit. Russia wasn't nefarious and evil like they're made to be. And I think it's so
His
easy
own
to
mother
get tricked.
says the biggest possibilities, he was Magnitsky himself, he was neglected. But the other thing is, Magnitsky, well, he wasn't actually killed by a mean government, corrupt government. He was just,
neglect.
It's still not okay.
His
but he
own
was
mother
neglected.
said neglect.
Probably.
Yeah.
And something that I don't think that is really, well mentioned in the film is that Magnitsky and Browder were working together since 1993, and Magnitsky had said to the detectives who were investigating this whole company scam thing, Bill Browder's companies, and why they had Magnitsky arrested, and Magnitsky was going along with this. He was providing testimonies and everything.
He's
lost my train of thought here. Please come back to me. What they don't mention is that Magnitsky had the feeling that he was being set up. That was what I wanted to say. And this is also in his testimonies, which are, of course, in Russian.
It's funny because I got tricked into the narrative, and I it's funny that when me and you talk sometimes, and you have a sometimes you get into, and I hate using the word, I apologize. But you see a conspiracy, and then I say, well, people aren't like that. I feel like people aren't evil like that. But then, right in front of my face, I realized that I got tricked into believing that Russia is this evil third world country where they're beating people in prison, when they're human beings just like us. Even my own way of thinking about people was disturbed by the narrative that Browder brought out. And certainly there are
and
bad
they're not
actors
just
in every
people
country.
like us, but they are, their country has a rich history, but Here's the thing. I think Russia's being used as is being
boogeyman.
siphoned of all of the wealth. That's the reason for all of this. As long as Russia seems to stay the boogeyman, then rich oligarchs can become richer there without Russia taking, a respectful place onto the world stage. And one of the reasons for that is Russia doesn't want to play along with, the world banksters and that kind of stuff. Russia paid off. This is something I read quite a while ago. So listeners are free to correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. But for as far as I know, Russia had, in the times of the Soviet Union, had a loan, a very, very big loan with the Rothschild bankers, which is one of the biggest banking families, private banking families.
Aren't they connected to the Clintons?
The Clintons are connected to everything.
I feel like there was a Rothschild-Clinton connection. Just
could be.
I have this vague memory. Anyway.
Probably.
Keep going.
Anyway.
You're intriguing me.
They paid off the loan.
Right.
And broke their relationship with the Rothschilds. And that was, they weren't thanked for that.
Well, that's one of the reasons that it's interesting, because I remember one of the reasons we apparently went to war with Iraq was that right before we went into war, they began trading oil not in dollars.
Wasn't that Libya?
Oh no,
Gaddafi?
I believe it was Iraq too. They were going to stop using the dollar as their currency.
Yeah, Gaddafi wanted to set up his own coin.
Mm-hmm.
And Libya happened. Benghazi, the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
And he was murdered brutally in the streets.
Yes, he was. Well, I don't think that we did that. I think that was the people that did that. I don't think Gaddafi was.
But
Gaddafi certainly wasn't an innocent. He was a piece of shit motherfucker. But what took him out of power was most likely him going against the American dynasty.
Yes, and they sure didn't think that he was a piece of shit back when he met with, wasn't it with, I think it was with,
wasn't it Bush?
I might be wrong
Papa
on this,
Bush?
but with Obama, I think. No, this all happened during the Obama age, where he was wearing some kind of a picture on his on the right of his jacket, showing that he was very much a part of the establishment until then. Like, hey, I'm one of the players here.
He was.
You cannot make,
kowtowing to
do
the
anything
public.
to me. Yeah, and then his sons were also chased and whatever. Yeah, and now Libya still one of the countries where a lot of mess is going on. And
well, I think both Libya and Iraq are kind of completely falling apart without their strongmen, without their leader. Yeah.
And this was part of a plan that was laid out back in the 90s, where they said that they wanted to the plan that there was, like the secret plan, was to invade a bunch of countries, make them play along. Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, but also
there
Russia,
definitely is some sort of world order at play. I do starting to see this as we talk.
Yeah, and two countries that have also been mentioned are Russia and Iran. And we
Russia
can see
and Iran.
exactly
Yeah.
who the targets here are.
We're definitely pushing to do something with Iran. It really doesn't look good, does it?
Yeah, it's been going on for years, of course. But now, with Bolton back in power, the same people who were in power, during the Bush administration, they're right back there. They're continuing their plans.
Well, we're going to fix this next year, Mark, when Hillary takes over. We're going to fix this.
I think this is the... yeah, maybe not. Maybe we can research all of this stuff and see how new the things that we are seeing right now actually are. But isn't there an American saying or an English saying, same shoes, different socks? Isn't that what this basically is?
I wonder how much truth the narrative is that it doesn't matter who's in power. They're not the real power,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If you were in power, you wouldn't want to be visible. That just,
Absolutely not. I mean, think of who was the
position at stake.
The family, I can't remember the name of the family right now, that was heavily in the steel business in the United States. Who was
Rockefeller?
that? Rockefeller. The Rockefellers have massive power still, right? I mean, they're the ultra uber rich, or
Rockefeller
DuPont. Like, you don't hear about these people and what they're doing anymore. But they've got to have it. They've got so much money. How could they not wield that influence somewhere?
You know, the interesting thing is that John D. Rockefeller, who was born in 1839 and died in 1937, is still considered the wealthiest American of all time and the richest person in modern history if you,
Inflation.
calculate his net worth to 2018 dollars and adjust it for inflation and everything. Then according to Forbes, he owns 1.5% to 2% of the United States economy, or approximately 1/65th to 1/50th of its GDP. This is about 409 billion US dollars.
Wow. Could you imagine?
No, absolutely not.
Can't imagine.
No,
Can't
I cannot
imagine-
even
I can't
imagine
even
how it is to
imagine
have
a
such a
million.
big.
Can't even imagine a million.
No,
I can't even imagine,
I'm
$100,000 in my
hundredaire.
account. Come on.
I'm 100 there.
I'm
Not a
thousandaire.
millionaire.
I'm a
Not even
thousandaire.
close.
I'm
I'm
a
a
thousandaire.
10-dare, maybe.
You're a 10-dare? You might need to go on.
A multi-10-dare.
You might need to get some food stamps, Mark.
No. We're not there. We're not that far.
How is
no,
that
no,
for
no,
a
no,
transition, though? How is
I'm not for a food stamp bearer. I don't know. Was it the transition?
the the transition is that we're getting ready to have a Supreme Court case regarding food stamps. Did you know?
Interesting.
Did you know about this?
No.
So
This is the Kavanaugh Supreme Court.
yes. Well, it's not about who gets food stamps. It's not about that. It's not about helping people who need it. But here's the headline from the AP News. It's the quest for food stamp data lands newspaper at the Supreme Court. This is in the summer of 2010, reporters at the South Dakota's Argus Leader newspaper decided to request data about the government's food assistance program, previously known as food stamps. They thought the information could lead to a series of stories and potentially help them identify fraud in the now $65 billion a year program. They sent a stream
Every time, I'm sorry to interrupt
ahead.
here for a second, but every time I hear identify fraud, I think of Bill Browder, who is on these things always.
Well, yeah,
Getting the wealth, but okay, but-
well, no, Bill Browder is playing this whole role that he's got to protect, a way of life and prevent this and that. But he's really just trying to hide.
Whitewashing all across
He's
Europe and
just-
the United
he's
States.
just trying to hide
and
his own
identify
fraud.
fraud and
He's hiding his own fraud, and he's paying off a bunch of people in my mind.
probably. Anyway, continue with this story.
So
Okay,
anyway, they sent a stream of what they thought were routine requests for information to Washington. And let's see here, government officials they requested information about usage of the food stamps, and government officials eventually sent back some information about hundreds and thousands of stores nationwide where the food program's participants could use their benefits. But the government withheld information that the reporters saw as crucial, which was how much each store received annually from the program. I think if we eventually see this data, we'll see entire supermarkets propped up from this, possibly. So
could be. Could also be a storm in a glass of water.
Yep. So finally, they're going to be getting it. It's going to be going to the Supreme Court, and we'll find out
In about 10 years. These things take time, don't they? In the Supreme Court?
Find out when it goes to the Supreme Court. Let's see here. I'm not exactly sure when it's going. It doesn't. Well, it says it's going to the Supreme Court, so it's got to be fairly soon, I would say.
Instead of having food stamps, isn't it better if we just have an economy that provides for the rich and the poor? That would be an idea, huh?
Provides for
Instead
the
of,
rich?
like Bill Hicks says, instead of using guns to shoot at people, why don't we use it to shoot food at poor people? There goes a banana.
All bullets would be made of like small cheese wieners.
The hot dogs.
Well, I like the sausages that are infused with cheese. I haven't had those in so long. I need to get my wife to get those.
Oh man, yeah, well, maybe. Oh, here. You know, this. My mind made a couple of jumps here. You could hear them all.
That's cool.
Here's where I ended. How about those news messages where they talk about meat that is no longer taken from animals but is grown in a lab?
I like this.
Would you be interested in testing that?
Yes, I would.
I am very much in favor of this.
Think about, because this would solve all of the global warming issues too, if it exists. If we are really having global warming from methane gas from cow farts, which sounds ridiculous, but apparently is true, we could solve this. And then my question is this: would there still be vegetarians? Would they still try to be, I'm special, I only eat that and that? Well,
or vegans. Those are even worse. They don't eat cheese. To the vegans listening to the show, you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
you eat nutrition.
Would you eat meat if it wasn't from animals? Or would you still be trying to be special? You know,
I'm totally in favor of this. There's a lot of torture going on with those animals. They're treated in horrible conditions.
I watched a PETA video once and I almost became vegan. I mean, it was rough, dude. I feel so bad that I don't go out and kill the animals myself. I really am disconnected from the food source.
So here's my alternative thought. At least we're killing people. Not people. I'm sorry. At least we're killing animals who have a horrible life.
Oh.
You stepped on my punchline here.
I'm sorry, but they
at least we are killing animals who have a horrible life.
Good.
The healthy people, the bio fanatics, they want to kill the happy animals.
They do?
Yeah, of course. The biological sheep who live a happy life and then finally get shot a pin through their head.
Yeah,
and then you can eat for a couple of weeks from such an animal.
But I mean, we are healthier with meat, apparently. Every friend I've known that's super vegan.
Of course we need. There's one argument to be made in favor of eating meat.
Yeah,
we have teeth.
Yeah. Well, you heard about this girl on Instagram. I think we talked about it a few shows back. She's huge, like vegan or vegetarian.
Teeth was what I wanted to say. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, omnivore teeth. Well, she got caught. She got caught eating meat, and she's like a big proponent of being a vegetarian. We're talking about
she just had to have that one hamburger. It was just one hamburger.
And she said she did it for her health reasons.
But I ate it with double the cheese.
Oh, man.
2 slices of pickle. Do you eat pickle on your hamburger? I love that.
Oh, my God. Well, okay, there's 2 types of pickles, and I need to ask you. Are you a butter sliced pickle? Like, are you a sweet pickle or are you a dill pickle? That's what I was meant to say.
I have no idea. We have just one.
Is it a salty or a sweet pickle?
I don't know. It's sour.
It's sour. Okay, so that's the right kind of pickle. There's a sweet type of pickle in America that is, it's crap. It's called butter slice or something like that.
Ugh.
It's
then
disgusting.
it has to be it has to be the hot pepper. That's
hot pepper?
Yeah, the pepperoni or whatever the name is.
What?
I always get the names confused. Yeah,
wait.
To
I
make
thought we were
it
talking about
spicy.
Pickles. I thought we were talking about pickles.
Yeah. No, okay, but if you do have something that is sweet, at least make it spicy as well.
Oh, I see.
Spicy and sweet.
Well, I love jalapeno. How about you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, jalapeno is the best.
Yeah.
Have you? I don't know if you guys do this in. Do you do this in Netherlands? Nacho chips with beans and jalapeno. So good.
Yes, we do.
I'm gonna get Taco Bell.
And I remember one time you were on a live stream for Japanese from Zero, and you were eating these nacho chips with a dip. And that same, you were still streaming, and I decided to switch my phone from Wi-Fi to mobile, and I went to the supermarket and I bought the exact same thing. I think something like guacamole with Doritos or something. It made an imprint in my mind, and I could not resist the temptation. So I had to buy it at that particular moment, which was like maybe 9 or 10 p.m. or something. It was a horrible time to go out here to a supermarket, but
you had a craving.
Yeah, you had me there.
I
had a desperate craving. Yeah, or it was no. You were on a health craze, and this wasn't like it was something else like. What's the name? The stuff that's made from the peas was
hummus.
Hummus.
It
We're
was
eating it with
hummus. Yes,
and I
I
thought,
love hummus. Yeah, it's actually really good.
yep.
You know, it's funny that talking about nachos reminded me. I've been mugged once in my life, and I was visiting from Japan, and I was at my dad's apartment complex, and I'd walked over to 7-Eleven, and they have nachos there, and you buy like a little box of nachos, and you dump chili sauce in it and nacho sauce and jalapenos, and I had that in my hand, and I'm walking out, and some very nice black gentleman, not that it matters, he opens up the door for me. I'm like, oh, that was very nice of him. And then he punches me in the face. I drop my nachos, and he takes my man purse. I had a man purse because I was coming from Japan, and everyone had a man purse in Japan at the time. And yeah, I got mugged, and then I was gonna chase him. I started walking after him, and everyone in the store was like, "No,
With the chips.
go!" I mean, he didn't get any money. I think he got 1,000 yen, which he probably thought was a lot, but it was like $9. And he got my passport, which destroyed me.
Oh,
That destroyed me.
well, that's not that common though to be
be
robbed
mugged?
in Japan.
Well, I was in America.
Oh, it was in the U.S.
I was in
Oh, I see.
America. Yeah, I was visiting from America. It was like a really bad introduction into, because I hadn't lived in America, I think at that time, for over 9 or 10 years. And to be back and get mugged within the 2 weeks that I was back was pretty bad.
Jesus. Yeah. Kind of kills your mojo.
It does, doesn't it? I mean,
It does.
You feel so
yeah.
violated. So there you have it. We're gonna find out. We'll revisit this story if I see any updates on this food stamp information going to the Supreme Court. But I'm curious. I would like to see the data, and I hope that the Supreme Court favors on the side of transparency.
Yeah. Same here. So you out of stories? I got one more.
Let's do it. By the way, the show is flowing very nice today.
Yeah, I agree.
Feels very, very competent. I wonder what other people
we're
think.
proving we can do it. Yeah,
I wonder the people that were here with us.
ready.
The people that were here with us last week, I wonder that stood with us till the end of the last week's show. I wonder what they think. I'm just curious.
Yeah, me too. And I have to say, I read all of the comments in the chat room. Thank you so much.
I've been
and
reading
let's
them too.
move on from that.
We don't talk about 24. We do not talk about it. All right, what's your last?
Disappeared. Well, I had an article on Time, and I'm trying to open it, but here's what it says. Welcome, Meredith collects data to deliver the best content, services, and personalized digital ads. We partner with third-party advertisers who may use track technologies to collect information about your activity on sites and applications across devices, both on our sites and across the internet. You always have the choice to experience our sites without personalized advertising based on your web browsing activity by visiting the DAA's consumer choice page, the NAY's website, and or the EU online choices page from each of your browsers or devices. To avoid personalized advertising based on your mobile app activity, you can install the DAA App Choices app here. You can find much more information about your privacy choices in our online policy. You can make a data subject request at any time. Even if you choose not to have your activity tracked by third parties for advertising services, you will still see non-personalized ads on our site. By clicking continue below and using our sites of applications, you agree that we and our third-party advertisers can transfer your personal data to the United States or other countries and process your personal data to serve you with personalized ads subject to your choices as described above and in our privacy policy. And I click continue. And it says, request has been terminated because the network might be offline, the origin is not allowed, or the page is being unloaded, etc. And I actually had to open my, what's the name? Not Internet Explorer, the other one. Edge. I had to open Edge to do the same thing again, and it works. Way to go, Time.
It's time.
Time wasted.
It's time that you open up.
So here's
Edge. Yes, go ahead.
Here's the actual story. Most young voters think the country is on the wrong track, according to a poll.
Which country?
The country.
Netherlands?
United States.
The country. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I didn't hear the part. Yeah. Gotcha.
The country.
So wait, most young people think that we're on the wrong track.
Yes. Significant majorities of young people in both parties are concerned about the country's moral direction, according to new data.
Moral direction. Too much porn?
From Harvard's. Who knows?
Oh.
Let's find out. This is from Harvard's Institute of Politics, provided exclusively to the Mark and George Show and to Time. Among young Democrats, 66% said that they were concerned about the moral direction of the country, up from 42% in 2015. Among young Republicans, 64% expressed concern about the country's direction.
Wow, that's a very close number.
Yeah, but this is down 9 points from 2015.
Wait, so they feel it's going better than before. There's been an improvement in the Republican children.
Yeah, but notice how they are saying this. So they say 66% said they were concerned about the moral direction. Among young Democrats, 66% said they were concerned about the moral direction of the country, up from 42% in 2015. That sounds really big.
Yeah.
They make it sound like this also applies to the young Republicans, but they say among young Republicans, 64% expressed concern about the country's direction, down 9 points from 2015.
Yeah, it sounds better.
It sounds slanted in my opinion, but
it's very slanted.
They also say, the study found that this concern correlated with increased anxiety.
Oh.
Well, of course you can say, well, young. Less concerned because, hey, now they have Trump, but they are still at 64%, which is just 2 points lower than the young Democrats.
Right.
During the Obama administration, in its final year, almost in 2015, they still just 42% said that they were worried, but now they are at 66%. So that's pretty, a big increase.
I always wonder how they ask these, like what were the, how do you feel? Do you feel that Trump's removing of babies from their loving mothers is a moral outrage? Yes.
Yeah, I think we can discover this on the website of Harvard itself.
Oh, do they show the questions?
They might. It's loading here right now, and of course, I'm on my 28K8 modem, so it might take a while.
Oh, you upgraded from the 14.4. Nice.
Yeah, finally.
I can't wait to get T1.
Some of that anxiety people express is leading to more political participation. Young voters are more enthusiastic about the 2020 election than they were about the 2016 election. The poll found that 43% of 18 to 29-year-olds said they were likely to vote in their state's primary, compared to 36% who said so in the spring of 2015.
That's worthless data, right? Like likely to vote. Are you likely to vote?
Yeah,
I mean,
true, but it's all explainable.
Who would say no to that? Who would say,
people
are you likely to vote?
Were sure,
no.
Yeah, people who were sure that Hillary was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But now, 43% said they were likely to vote, which is more people. And especially among Democrats, this went up for 14 points.
Right.
And this is something that I found very funny to read. The poll also found that young voters, mostly millennials and Gen Zers, have grown suspicious of the baby boomer generation. Only 16% said that they thought boomer elected officials, defined here as between the ages 55 and 73, cared about people like them, while 18% said that they thought boomer votes cared. Meanwhile, roughly 4 in 10 said they didn't think boomer voters or officials had young voters' best interests at heart.
Let me clarify, because this seems like a huge change in society. Can I clarify? Do you mind? I want to clarify.
No, go ahead.
You're saying that, because this seems like, I feel like this never happened before. Younger generation isn't trusting the older generation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be so surprising in and of itself.
No, I mean, you would think it would have happened in the 60s, but in the 60s, everyone loved the Vietnam War. Remember that? They were like, remember when the old people and the young people were totally okay with the war and they didn't. Yeah, it's crazy that we've changed so much.
Yeah, nobody went out.
We changed so much.
The change is different here, and this is going back to your how did you call it? The stuff shifts back pretty much.
The swinging of the pendulum.
Yeah, the pushback on the transgender issue story you had.
Yeah.
there is a pushback, and the pushback here is that apparently the younger generations are, and this is no surprise to me, but they are more conservative than the older folks, and that is a big difference from the '60s, where the younger people were more liberal. They expressed more liberal views, and they wanted to the society to change into a more liberal movement, and now that pendulum is swinging back towards the
it's funny.
more conservative side.
I think we'll find out. I think this next election is going to really show a lot about how we're thinking. If the country truly has, if the youth has swung back to a more conservative side, I think we'll know. I think Trump will get reelected if that's the case. Because anyone on the left is going to be talking about, all of these
conservative contenders. Yeah, I think Tulsi Gabbard is also possible because she expresses some more conservative views. She calls out the players by names, as we discovered in the previous episodes.
If we had a Democratic contender come up that said, "Hey, we need safety nets, but we don't need people feeding off the teat of the government for their entire life," can you imagine how amazing that would be? He said, "We want to help people. We think you should have help, but let's be realistic. We can't afford to pay for everybody's every whim that they want."
Yeah, it seems that the Democratic Party is moving a little bit more towards the thought of implementing, the UBI, Universal Basic Healthcare, Universal Basic Income.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know what to think about that yet. I don't know what to think about that yet.
Well, the thing is, many people are already on the government's teat in one way or another. So maybe not that much would change when people move to a blanket UBI, but it would reduce bureaucracy, which, the net change is that it saves money.
I really want to recommend you listen to this book. Everyone listening should listen. The Yuval Noah Harari book, like I said earlier, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. I feel like that's a really weird title for the book because it really talks about once AI takes over and once, as long as the government doesn't block it all, we're going to have a lot of useless people. And how are they going to survive? There's nothing, they can't transition. Like, you could go from a farmhand, to working at Walmart, but you can't go from Walmart to being a drone operator. The skill level is completely different, and the AI is going to take over. So this UBI thing is going to have to really be addressed, or else really the money is going to be concentrated in one spot.
So there's this big group of people whose future is uncertain.
Yeah,
they might kill us and eat us.
I don't think they have that power. Think about it. If we have AI robots that are controlled by the top.
Oh, then the AI, the AI.
There's
will eat
no
us.
way. This book is right up your alley, Mark. You really should read it.
Send it to me.
I don't think I can, but you can get
That would be nice, though.
Audible.com account. Just go to audible.com/Mark and George, and you'll get a free 1 month account. Actually, I'm kidding. You get a free 1 month account no matter how you go, and we are not sponsored by them.
I wish we were, George, but we aren't.
Yeah.
Anything from? Have you paid attention to the chat rooms? I always as soon as I pay attention to the chat rooms, I don't pay attention to what you're saying. But
they're following along. Millennials.
Well, we have our no.
No, I was just reading what Jason 13 said. Millennials hate everyone. He was referring back.
Am I a millennial? I guess I am a millennial, aren't I? I'm an old millennial.
I think
I'm
you
from
are
'84.
You're a very early. You might be generation shit.
Well, probably. I'm in between two generations,
though.
I think.
You're definitely conservative.
Oh yes, absolutely. But I know many millennials aren't. And
my daughter is
snowflakes.
My daughter's a snowflake social justice warrior. Let me just call
that
out.
You've got two daughters.
Both of them? My oldest one.
Oh.
My younger one,
how about your youngest
she
one?
gives a shit about anything.
She's a Zoomer.
She doesn't care about anything. My oldest one is very, very socially transgender,
engaged,
bisexual, all of that. Like, she cares about all of the people that are not represented. You know, she's a social justice warrior, 100%. Not that that's a bad thing. Just being friendly. Honey, if you're listening, I love you. Don't beat me up. I'm sorry.
She'll turn around.
We'll see. I think
Maybe.
once she's out of college and she's earning her own money and she knows how hard it is to earn money, you know, she started working recently before she's in her last year of college. But I think the more that she works hard and she sees people that don't work hard getting free money, that's gonna stir up her social justice warrior. But she'll be getting justice for herself, you know.
Well, that's you know, that should be the goal. And if we all do, for example, like here in this country, we have I don't know how many political parties, just a lot, okay? And every time that there are country elections, especially the media, they trump up this idea of having strategic voters. And if there's one thing I'm against, it is this concept of strategic voting. So normally I would vote for this party, but because the whole you know, system might shift more to this side, maybe we should all vote for this other party.
Is that a thing?
And in the past, yeah, and this is the media keeps calling this strategic voting.
That sounds like someone trying to
manipulate
people into voting.
Should vote for one. Yes, and vote, you know, for a party that they promote, because there's always, you know, a pro and a con party in the eyes of the media, which is totally unbiased, of course.
The majority of the American media is biased. Fact.
Yeah, and also the Dutch media.
The majority of the Dutch media is, no one gives a shit about the Dutch media.
Is biased as well.
Biased. Yes.
To an extreme degree, by the way, but that's a story for a different time. Anyway, I think people should just vote for their own interests. That's all that they need to do.
I
Stop
thought
voting for.
I thought that's what they did anyway.
I'm not so sure. I think this is the same thing as people who strategically. Well, they wanted to vote for Bernie, but Bernie left the race in 2016, so they strategically voted for, you know, someone who's strategically voted for Hillary Clinton or Trump or whatever, but they didn't really feel like that person had their best interest at heart. They just wanted to prevent the other person. That's strategic voting, and it sucks.
I really did not want Trump in. That's why I voted for Hillary. I did not like Hillary. That is truth. That is truth. I didn't. So
you voted strategically.
I voted. I guess that's what I did. I guess I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I just really hate. I'm not into Hillary Clinton. I think I might like her more than Elizabeth Warren, though. Something about Warren. Her voice just rubs me raw.
You know, baby eater.
She's
Clinton.
a baby eater. That's been proven.
She scares me, man.
It's been proven that Hillary Clinton is a
scary
baby.
woman.
I read it on a website.
Strange laugh. Ugh. Clinton. Dodge a bullet on that one.
I guess.
So, but you could suggest your daughter to listen to the Mark and George show.
No, bad idea. Don't want to fight. You know, they already don't watch anything that I make, so I think it's good. This is such
a good start, man.
The Mark and George show is such a fringe thing out of all the things that I do. I mean, I've got
our
Japanese,
show is totally
Korean.
Unbiased.
I don't mean fringe. I just mean it's so out of the norm of what I do. I don't even think they know that I do it, honestly. Are we unbiased? I don't even know what we are. What are we? We're just two guys trying to make it in the podcast world.
In the podcasting world.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out who we are.
Advertisers.
The story of coming up of a 35-year-old man in the Netherlands and a man coming to terms with his own frailties.
Former liberalism.
Yeah. And trying not to interrupt people and listening to the end and all these things that he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah, we are, building your performance character. And we are...
I am a character. This is not the real
mine.
George Trombley. If you want to watch that, you got to go to JapaneseFromZero.com. Boom. How about that?
Now that you mentioned this, and I find this to be the most interesting thing is that as soon as you go into teacher mode, oh man, you knock them all out of the park. It's just amazing, but it's like this switch that flips and boom, you are, at least the best Japanese teacher I've ever heard. And believe me, I've looked through a lot of them before I ended up with you, with whom I'm making a podcast right now. But it is so interesting. And yeah, that's the real you, and a different side of you. And it's very serious when it comes to language. You don't fuck around when it comes to language. And especially Japanese language.
Well,
and teaching
I don't like the bullshit. I just hate bullshit on the language side. There are a lot. Here's what happens. Okay, we actually me and you were talking about this yesterday, but you have or maybe it was this morning or last night. I don't remember. These people, they learn Japanese for a year, and they're like 22 years old, and they're in college, and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to make a new way to teach Japanese, and I'm going to talk about the theory of learning, and I'm going to give all of these amazing, like, the human brain works this way, and we're not babies, or we are babies, or whatever they come up with. And they spend a lot of their energy talking about the theory of learning and how you can learn language in a month or in a week. And the thing is, they're not teaching you shit. They never teach you anything. All they do is talk about how they learned, but they never teach you the difference between the 3 ways the Japanese say maybe, like I did in my last video. They don't talk about
which was very interesting, by the way.
Well, I just
enjoyed it a lot.
I just think shut the fuck up about your process of learning and actually teach people.
Fell out there for a second. That was a nice one.
I was gonna say, well, let me say it again. Shut the fuck up about how to learn and actually teach people, and then they will learn. People need information to learn. They don't need high ideals and propaganda about how you're supposed to learn and how you have the new way of learning, the easiest, funnest, most awesome way to learn. No, just fucking learn.
But Japanese seems to be a little bit, different from other languages, because I've explored 2 other languages and a little bit of French, but people aren't as they're not the thing about Japanese, it makes people who want to teach this stuff a little bit more pretentious than in different languages. Like, it's a race to which foreigner
it's easy to get to a fairly proficient. It's hard to get really, really good, but it's easy to get to a proficient level. And I think once they get there, they get this feeling of superiority, and they have to teach everybody.
Yes, and that's so weird. I've seen it a lot, and I've always moved away from those.
Just search for
types of
on
people
YouTube
where it's
how I learned Japanese, and you'll see a million videos of someone, by the way, never speaking Japanese even once in the video, talking about how they learned Japanese. Never once do you see them speak Japanese.
Yeah, or they go crazy on one certain cultural aspect, but and I'll tell you what, I'm never really go into the language.
I'm not saying I'm the greatest teacher. I'm not saying that I know everything. I'm saying I teach Japanese. That's the difference. I don't talk about how I learned it. I teach it.
You've been teaching it for well over 20 years.
Yep. I made my first. Is it over 20? My first video was in 2002, but yeah, 1999 was when I have a version of the books from 1999. So yeah, 20 years, and they're the #1 seller. So even now,
on Amazon. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, on the hour.
Well, Crafty Base in our Discord channel says no book word style from George. Who cares about the copula? That's what I learned from George.
Well, by the way, Crafty Base is the co-author of Korean from Zero with me, so he knows a little bit about how we teach, because we wrote the Korean books too. So anyway, enough about self-promotion. Great show, Mark. I think we can move forward with this style. It worked nice, didn't it?
Evergreen. Yeah. Show 25.
Show 25. We finally hit some stride here. And right after a little bit of a bump, we had a little bit of a turbulence, but then man, it smoothed out.
If there's no struggle, there's no progress.
Wow. Fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Yes.
Japanese proverb. Although someone pointed out, why do you need to get up 8 times? You could just get up 7. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that guy was me, thinking too hard about the Japanese sayings. Anyway, it's been a fun show.
It has been.
Let's try this style of show making again.
Look at the trolls saying we skipped the number on the shows. We did not. We
They
did
don't
not
know
talk
what's
about
going on.
24. We
Or
don't
they
talk
do.
about 24, Sir Ben Rose.
See you next episode.
Bye-bye.
My name's Mark van Dijk.
And I'm George Trombley. Peace out.